Today's class is 15 more nice ways to be more present in relationships. This is part 2 of 2. I'm going to repeat what I said last week, which is relationships thrive when both partners play active roles in the relationship. Paying mind to everything from the daily maintenance of the relationship to personal care. In other words, it's about making an effort and investing in yourself to invest in the relationship. Do the work and stay consistent in your effort, and you'll see improvements in your relationship. There are a number of small, nice things that we can focus on to be happier, more present, and more attentive partners. Being a better partner starts with being a better person. Here are a few tips on where to start. Don't hesitate to share these with your partner or spouse as well, because we've all heard before, it's the little things that matter. Now, just like last week, I wanted to mention that this class, although it's geared to those currently in relationships, for those of you who are currently single and focusing on yourself, these tips can be placed in your toolbox for either future personal use or to share with others that may benefit from them. And keep in mind, even if some of these are more intimate relationship oriented, they could still apply to all types of relationships, whether it's your children, your boss, your neighbor, your friend, so forth. All right, so this would technically be 16 carried on from last week, but because it's an additional 15, number 1 of 15 today is be aware of any imbalances in shared emotional labor. This is a big one. The mental work of running a household and a family, planning, the scheduling, etc., is often conducted primarily by one partner in a relationship. But that work, while essential, is often invisible and underappreciated. It's underappreciated at the very least. Don't fall into that trap. Yes, you may split the housework and hands-on kid stuff 50-50, but recognize that if your partner or spouse who schedules the doctor's appointments, sets up play dates, signs up the kids for soccer, drives them to and fro, these are things that take time and brain power of the other person, not yours. You know, there was a study done, it was probably about 15 years ago, so I'm sure it's different now, but there was a study done on how much the average stay-at-home parent would make if they were actually applying what they did to the work field. And it was about $268,000 a year. That's because you're playing coach, you're playing teacher, you're playing referee, you're playing house cleaner, you're doing so many different roles, but yet getting nothing for it from a financial standpoint, and certainly very little appreciation, especially from if we are with somebody and they don't let us know that. Okay, number 2, if you make yourself something, tea, a sandwich, a stiff cocktail, offer to make them one too. So oftentimes we get up because we're thirsty, we run to the refrigerator and get a drink. It would be nice on our way there, if our spouse is home or a significant other or even a friend or anyone, hey, what can I grab you? Take their side in family squabbles whenever possible. This could be difficult because oftentimes couples have inner conflict that maybe they agree with their family members on. So you got to get creative, and maybe even if, and this is if your spouse or significant other is upset that you didn't take their side, you can even if you didn't agree with what your spouse said and agree with your family, you can even say something like, you know what, I don't like the tone in which they said it, or I don't like the way they conveyed that message. So even if, you know, you can't say, I disagree with my family, even if you don't, you can certainly let your spouse know that you support them a different way. Keeping in mind, obviously, there might be things that the family says that you do disagree with. Give me 1 second. I'm going to steady my camera. Let's see here. Or pin it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so take their side in family squabbles whenever possible. Number 4, keep your promises. Very simple. You say you're going to do something, keep your promise. Doesn't matter if it's something on a large scale or something on a small scale. Make sure you keep your promise. Number 5, give your partner or spouse the benefit of the doubt. There's an old saying, which is you can either be right or you can be happy. Oftentimes you cannot be both. So do you want to be right in your marriage or do you want a happy marriage? You have to decide. Number 6, when you become frustrated, take a few breaths and walk away if need to. One of the things that I said last week in my class was oftentimes if there's a disagreement, before things get heated, take a pause. We put kids in timeout for, to calm their emotions. We can also regulate our own emotions by taking a pause. If we need to come back to the table to discuss this, fine, great, and dandy. Oftentimes when we think we can come back to the table to discuss what we disagreed on, we realize, you know what, it was small stuff. There's no sense to bring it up again. All right, number 7, remember to love them even when you don't like them. This is a biggie, but again, it applies with our spouses, our significant others, our partners, as well as bosses, kids, neighbors, family members. I always tell, well, especially my kids, you don't have to like, love, emulate what I do or say, but you do have to respect it. So do your best to, even at those times where you are furious with your spouse, try to appreciate the role they have, maybe as a parent to your child, or maybe, still try to like them as a human being, even if you're upset with them for some reason. Number 8, get rid of the unreasonable expectations you have for your spouse, your partner, your mate, so forth. Your partner is a person that they were when you met them. No one is perfect. Just the way you might have things about your partner that you think could be worked on, is the same way your partner feels about you. The trick is to manage your expectations, have open communication, and come up with realistic ways to make your relationship better and more satisfying to both yourself and your partner. Continuously work to make sure that both of you are working towards having a healthier partnership. My thought just left my head. Okay, if it comes to me, it comes to me. But I just want to say, for those that are in relationships, especially intimate ones, relationships are all about compromise and negotiation. Everything from doing the dishes to sex to you name it. Relationships are about compromise and negotiation. It is an emotional business you're running. And just like in business, there's a lot of conversations, a lot of negotiations, a lot of compromise. Number 9, call just to say hi. Now, in this day of COVID and so many people are working from home, maybe you don't have to do that, but try not to text or Facebook chat. Make a call just to say hello. That's it. Doesn't have to be a long conversation. And if your spouse or partner has a tendency to keep you on the phone when you're busy, then feel free to send a text. Hey, just trying to say hi. Number 10, if they ask you to do something with them that they enjoy, even if you don't enjoy it, do it. So again, even if you hate it, especially if you hate it, they'll know you did it just because it makes just because you love them. I'll give you a quick thing. So I have what's called CPTSD. It's a post-traumatic stress disorder from severe abuse in my childhood. And so I also was in the military for 8 years. And when in the military during training, you had to basically, quote, fight in the mud. And one night we got so much mud in our shirts, and the drill sergeants, just being a butt, said, "You guys took too long marching back to the barracks, so you don't have time to shower." Well, what happened is all that mud dried up in the middle of the night. And every time I was turning in my sleep, all the sand and the pebbles and all that basically made my back look like a werewolf attacked it in the morning. So now I go to the beach with my family, and I loathe sand. I don't like to go to the beach. I can't stand it because it just makes me feel yuck. It's a PTSD thing. So, however, my spouse and my family love the beach. So that's an area where there's constant compromising and negotiation. All right. Be enthusiastic about your favorite TV shows, even if it's really bad TV. So basically get into TV shows with the person that, you want to invest in, whether it's your spouse, your partner, significant other, your child, neighbor, friend, blah, blah, blah. Even to the point where asking them their favorite person on the show, their favorite character, or just sit in silence and view it with them. I can't tell you how many times. So my spouse is into all these Marvel X. I don't know, the guy with the claws. What's his name? Anyway, it doesn't matter. And I can't stand those things. But I'll sit there and bite the inner side of my cheek for 2.5 hours just so we can spend some quality time together. Because again, that's showing that I'm sacrificing for love. When you get into an argument, use I statements. This is number 12. Don't put your anger on them. Make sure they know it's about how you're feeling, which is the opposite of being accusatory. So instead of you did ABC, it's I feel yada yada because of ABC, which now that we're on this, I'll give you a little side tip. There's there's a saying that is research that usually gets a great response, and that's when you, I feel, I'd prefer. So you fill in the blanks. When you don't look at me when I'm talking, I feel dismissed. I'd prefer you put your phone down and look at me. So it's when you, I feel, I'd prefer. Number 13, if you don't know where something is in your house, actually look for it before you ask your significant other. And I am laughing because Lord have mercy, I will ask for ketchup, which is on the right-hand side of our refrigerator door, the biggest bottle on the door. And I will ask, I don't care if it's my spouse or my kids, who will be looking fervently for 3 hours and say, I can't find it. And sometimes it's a matter of moving something, before you ask where it is or you can't find it. If you truly don't know where something is, of course, ask, where it is. But if it's a matter of just spending an extra 10 seconds or moving something, it avoids frustration to ask your spouse where something is that's relatively in plain view sight. Number 14, flirt more. It's easy to forget once you're settled into a relationship that flirting doesn't make your partner feel appreciated and loved. It's fun. There's a scientific reason for that. The actual crux of what makes flirting feel so good is that the potential to release dopamine, that phenomenally pleasurable neurochemical in our brain, the dopamines. So if you wish to intensify an attraction, feel slightly euphoric, and give the suggestion, not promise, of greater intimacy down the line, by all means, flirt some more. And flirting doesn't have to be sexual. It could be anything that makes your other half feel good. So maybe tapping into their love language with a little bit of flirtatiousness salted on that. Number 15, be flexible. Life throws us a lot of uppercuts our way. Being flexible brings a sense of peace to the situation. Number 16, stop being so defensive. It's a learned behavior that so many of us have, but defensiveness can destroy relationships. So being receptive to a partner's feedback is essential. Now, there's certain ways that, a lot of us are defensive. I'll stand in the front of the line with that one. But maybe you can tell your spouse or significant other, whomever, friend, boss, child, if you present information to me in this fashion, I'll be less defensive. So you can self-advocate in that way, is let them know I will best receive information if it's told to me in this way, in this fashion. Number 17, remember, it doesn't matter who wins. When couples respect each other, they can accept not being right in favor of maintaining a healthy balance. Like I said before, you often have a choice in relationships. You could either be right or you could be happy. I know I said 15. I'm going to give you a few more as a bonus. Don't undermine their thoughts or their concerns. So different viewpoints are indicators of individuality, and respecting that is key to any healthy relationship. Remember that your partner is not you. They are a person of their own with their very own values, thoughts, opinions, and they should be respected as you would want your thoughts and values respected as well. Doesn't mean you have to like, love, emulate everything, but respect the fact that they're an individual. And if worst case scenario, you can agree to disagree, still respecting the individual and their choices and so forth. Number 19, learn how to get past arguments. Unless we were raised in a very, very healthy environment where our parents actually had a disagreement and then in a healthy manner, moved on, which 99% of us did not have. We didn't learn how to argue healthy in a healthy way or disagree in a healthy way. So learn how to get past arguments. Pats, snipes, disagreements, screaming matches, etc. They're going to happen. One of the defining aspects of a strong and happy marriage, however, is the ability to work through them and get past them. Now, side note, this is not about betrayal. This is just for those minor disagreements. Obviously, for those that are watching that said, wait a minute, I just had a D-Day and we just had an argument. No, 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 no. When you have a D-Day, that is kind of your free pass to do whatever within reason. I'm just talking about minor disagreements within a relationship. And the last one I'll say for today is don't ever stop trying to do better. Be generous, be thoughtful, say thank you. All those things. I say it all the time. It's the little things that count. You know, pebbles make mountains, raindrops make seas. You get out of relationships what you put into them. It's just like a bank account.